Okay, module number 5, I'm going to break this down and show you the workflow that actually works so that you can do this ultra part-time and still get great results. Now, here's the workflow. Number 1, you need to create a filing system for all of your information. Number 2, you need to build a calendar and then work from it. Number 3, you need to create your your monthly workflow based on that calendar. All 3 of those are going to be super important. So it all goes back to this. It all goes back to creating that calendar and starting right there with the filing system that you have. So calendar and filing system, all of that's going to work together. Let me show you what I mean right here. A filing system. You need to make a folder of updated information that's the same for every request. Now, as I told you way back in module 1, all grant makers ask for the same objective data. Every single grant maker is asking you for the 501c3 verification, your Form 990, your financials from the previous 2 years, your annual budget, your organization name, the mission of your organization, the short history of your organization, and your board of directors. You need to make a folder right now in your filing system that has all of that information together. Literally, a folder that says 2023 updated objective information, 2024 updated objective information. You might even do this, break it down by the quarter, because your financials are going to update as they update periodically throughout the year. And if you're writing the grants, just get in the workflow of reaching out to your executive director or your upline, whoever it would be, and say, hey, I had this conversation just 2 weeks ago. Reach out to my boss and say, hey, do we have updated Form 990 yet? And do we have an updated financials through the end of quarter? Hey, we do have this, we don't have that. Okay, I'll take what we have and I'll just update my folder of information that's the same for every single request. Number 2, make a folder for each project. I told you in the previous module that when I was working at the nonprofit that helped people off drugs, off the streets, out of prison, human trafficking, I had 4 different grant requests that I was rotating through. Those 4 requests, I had a folder for every single one. And as I dialed in the criteria for those grants, as we got better at running the programs and we were more efficient and more effective, I would dial it in even better, had better numbers, better stats that I could show. I had a folder for every single grant request. I had a budget in there that got updated, had partnering organizations that got updated. Some of that partnering organizations included letters that they would send, like, oh yeah, we're partnering with them and we're helping them, and this is how. That folder had all of that in there. Also, make a folder for each grant maker, including, this is super important, whenever you send a request to that grant maker, man, just print that file to PDF and put it in that folder. Now, here's why I did that particularly, is because sometimes these grant makers are going to want to make a site visit. They're going to want to see, like, when you're helping people coming off the streets, you're helping people with job programs, you're helping the GED programs, all that. Like, sometimes they want to see that, and they're like, hey, I want to see that in action. They come out, and by the time their board of directors has met, and by the time they get that thing scheduled and align all of those calendars of all those people and come see you, you've forgotten, because you're making so many of these requests, you've forgotten not the program, but you've forgotten the specific nature of your request. You forgot specifically how much you asked them for. And so you could just go into that folder, keep up updated notes. In fact, I had a spreadsheet and a note sheet for every grant maker. I used to just type it into an Excel. Now I kind of write it into an e-tablet, like handwrite it in there, but it's all digital. So it uploads, it syncs, anybody can take it. I take that to the meeting with them, and I can look back at what we requested exactly. If they have a question about financials and say, hey, on this line item or this part of the budget narrative, you said this, I can actually look at it in real time. I always review it before those meetings, but I can look at it. If they send us a check and they say, hey, here's a $15,000 check for your most recent proposal, I can look back and say, okay, what exactly are they funding here? Let me look back, So you've got that record. It also helps you forthgoing in the future. If they reject something because they don't fund it, you don't want to send it again. You certainly don't want to every time, even if they do fund it, keep sending them the same. Keep a folder that includes every grant request, every acceptance letter, every rejection letter, every thank you. Make a folder again, 1, 2, 3 for updated information that's the same for every request, an updated folder for each project that you're working on, an updated folder for each grant maker. Here's what else you need to know about the workflow is make a calendar and work from that calendar. Now, I've already alluded to this in other modules, but I want to bring it back here. Here's what I do. I organize my work by the month. So I make a list of all grant makers who receive requests that month. That's point 2. Point 3 is I include the relevant info on that spreadsheet, the approximate amount, how to apply, whether it's online, whether it's through the mail, and other details that I think are relevant that I need to know. And then number 4, I do the work a month ahead. So I do my March requests that are due in March. I do those in February. Sometimes if I'm working way ahead, I may do them some in January, but then I don't send them or upload them until closer to time that's due, so that they are timely, not so far ahead that people even forget where it is. They got to keep up with it, all of that kind of stuff. Here's the third item on that list of your workflow. Not only are we creating a filing system for all the information, not only are we building a calendar and working from it, we are going to create a monthly workflow based on that calendar. Meaning, what you need to do is you need to define what you're going to do when you sit down in the chair at your desk and begin working. So for me, it looks like this. Week number 1 of every single month, I'm going to write currently $100,000 to $200,000 in grant requests. So in months where there are a lot of them that are due based on specific due dates, I'm going to fill it up with those. On months where there aren't many that are due based on due dates, I'm going to fill it up with people that I can apply to at any time of the year when it's convenient. And as I get better information from them, I may hone that down and go, oh, well, they seem to like getting these, early in the year, not at the end of the year, not closer to December for year-end giving. They like to plan this way in advance. So I'm going to, based on when I know they like to receive requests, I'm going to fill up that calendar. Week number 2, I'm going to follow up with my old request. That means due date has lapsed, haven't heard back from them. And also, I'm going to do a little bit of research in week 2 to scout for new grant makers. I don't do this every single day. I just follow up with it once a month. Week number 3, I'm going to finish any work that's been left undone. So that might be generally, I've gotten the week 1 stuff done. That's kind of the priority is get the request out. But in week 3, I might not have in week 2 followed up with everybody. I might have run out of time. I might not have had time to scout new grant makers. So I'll finish anything in week 3. And then in week 4, I'm going to email every single grant maker that's in my database a not a funding request piece of communication. Now, generally, what I do is I send them an email that I alluded to in the previous module where, in the subject line, I'll say, not a funding request, monthly update. And I will put a header first thing in the email when they open it up. Hey, this isn't a funding request. You're receiving this because your foundation, your organization has funded us at some point in the past. And I want to tell you thank you and give you an update because even if you didn't fund the specific thing that I'm about to tell you about, your funding made it possible because you funded something else that allowed us to direct monies towards this. And so I'm just communicating, and you'll be shocked how many people will reply back and go, oh, thanks for the update. Let me show you. Here's what I send them is I write the email and I send them to this page. Now, this is a page on Crosswinds Foundation for Faith and Culture's website. And you'll see that button right there, most recent. Let me just kind of talk you through it as we're going. So I update this every month. That's the new information as of the recording of this. It tells you about some training that we did. By the way, all that information right there is the copy that I sent in the email. So this has the newest updates on top. That's what I'm sending them to. and they just kind of all go to the bottom. So anybody that goes here can follow those buttons and go, oh, hey, there's the trailer for the movie. That's the recent documentary that we put out. So I think I told them about that in July. In June, I told them about a free audiobook that we gave away to everybody. So they can click on that. And a lot of them take action on it and they get it. That's not the most important thing. Really, what I want to do is I want to communicate with them about the podcast. Once I write the copy for this, for the email, I've got it for the web page. I've got it for everything. I've got it even for some social media posts. So you can be very efficient. That is the workflow. That's how I do it every single month. And the next module will wrap it up and I will tell you other things that you need to know.